Well, as 2026 has begun, we continue to show, of course, many of the wrestling promotions' first shows of 2026. The first one we're going to do is Yoshi Promotion Ice Ribbon with their first show of 2026 with new Ice Ribbon number 1468, New Year's Yokohama ribbon that happened, of course, on January 4th. So we're going to have a lot of interesting matches. So it's been a while since I actually reviewed one of them, and we'll see how things will go. And of course, we move on with NXT with New Year's Evil. As you probably know, we have a couple of interesting matches. We have the NXT Women's North American title on the line. We even have, of course, the NXT Championship and the NXT Women's Championship and other matches as well. So we're going to see how things will roll up from there. And then, as always, we'll wrap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is the channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers, so let's begin the episode. So, as I said before, it's been a while since I reviewed this promotion. It's, of course, the Yoshi Promotion Ice Ribbon. So, let's get to it. All right, Ice Ribbon. So I apologize for many of my subscribers. If you guys are big fans of Ice Ribbon, I really am sorry that I haven't been reviewing one of these for quite some time. It's kind of hard to find where to watch it, but I was able to find this one because it's their latest show. Now, for those who are new, are not familiarized with Ice Ribbon, let me give you a bit of context. This is one of the Yoshi promotions independently, of course, in Japan, and it was founded, of course, by Emi Sakura, who many of you know, who is the current founder of Choco Pro. But of course, eventually she left. But there have been many wrestlers that went here to Ice Ribbon, of course, like Suzuki. Who else? Julia, of course, is one of them. Our current Women's United States Champion from WWE, and a few others. And of course, many for over time we did have Mio Shirai. Many of you know her or not. She is the sister of Io Sky. She was a trainer and a referee with the promotion, but she left last year due to some situations going on with the company, due to some girls not being paid well. Other girls left as well. So that kind of plays out too. But however, I do enjoy watching some of the talent. I mean, there are some good girls that I'm not too familiarized with her, but I decided, you know what, let's do it. Now, their latest show happened, of course, back on the 4th of January, which was the Yokohama Sambo Hall, and it's titled, of course, the New Year's Yokohama Ribbon. So basically, there's ribbon everywhere on this one. Now, we did see the opening where they have the roll call, everybody who's participating in this particular event, so it would make absolute sense. Now, our first match, we have a bit of a tag team action. We have Mohe Ito and Rico taking on Mace Masahiro. I'm going to presume both Mohe and Hase are sisters. And, of course, Mase teams up with Kirari Wakana. Now, I'm not too familiar with them, but these girls, I have to say, they're very interesting. But I have to say, the younger ones, they are showing a bit of a promising. But the end of this one had a very unique finisher. Apparently, we did see, what's her name? Rico applied a crucifix, and of course, Mohe applied a jackknife onto Wakana. And just like that, it was over with the pinfall. 1, 2, 3, over. So I thought that was a pretty good move to end things. Now, our next match, we have Little Mars taking on Arisa Shinose. Now, I am familiarized with Arisa Shinose's name. I have seen her name countless times that was mentioned all over social media, but she was pretty good. Not familiarized with Lil Mars, but the match ended with, of course, Shinose applying like a somewhat version of the Shining Wizard, but in an Insiguri setting, I'm going to presume. And I mean, it may look like a weak move, but it shows promising from there. So that's how it ended. And then she gave the pinfall. 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, we have Ichika Miyabi teaming up with Yappy. So, those who don't know this, Ichika Miyabi, she's from PvP Tokyo, another promotion. Yes, they do allow outside wrestlers to participate. They face against Miku Kane, who you all know from T Hearts, one of um, um, Yumiko's Hota's students, and teaming up with Suri and Chichi a few times. She teams up with Totoru uh, Satsuko, and I thought the match was pretty. But the one thing was interesting is seeing Yappy and Totoro facing off. It became like a hoss fight. But the one thing that overturned the match was, of course, Ichika Miyabi doing spitting out the mist onto Yappy, and then of course the referee was questioning her, what the hell was that? Unaware that of course Yappy used the chain onto Totoro, and she used that as a weapon to apply the lariat. Referee didn't see it, but just like that, 1, 2, 3, Yappy picked up the win for her team. Now, our next match we have Sumika Yanagawa. Many of you know her formerly from GTO, who used to be part of that promotion until she left. She faces Akane Fujita. Many of you know her as a former member of the Prominence. So basically, it was a pretty good match. Now, and I thought maybe Fujita would have picked up the win, but however, that wasn't the case because I thought Yanagawa did a fantastic job, but unfortunately, this match ended in a time limit draw of 15 minutes. So basically, no one won or lost. In our main event, we have Tsukina Umino teaming up with Manami Katsu. They take on Yuka and Kaho Matsushita. Now, I'm not too familiarized too much with these ladies, but I thought the match was pretty interesting and pretty good. But this match ended with, of course, with a elbow drop by Katsu onto Yuka, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. So that's how things end on this particular show. Now, of course, for now, if anybody wants me to do more reviews of Ice Ribbon, please leave me a comment, and I'll do the best of my ability to see if I can do any of these reviews. If I'm unable to do so, I apologize. So, but right now, let's move on to our last review, which is NXT New Year's Evil. Okay, NXT's first show of the year, New Year's Evil. We were supposed to open up with the NXT Women's North American Championship. Now, Thea Hale was coming out to do her thing until she was blindsided from behind, attacked by Blake Monroe. Now, of course, Blake Monroe has been unhinged ever since losing the championship to Thea Hale. But of course, the match had to be postponed or paused or whatever until Ricky Saints showed up, of course, with going out with his usual ego about, of course, everything about his plans for 2026. So we'll see how things will progress from there. Now, General Manager Ava, I'm sure she's having her blood pressure high due to what just transpired earlier in the show, of course, with Thea Hale being attacked by Blake Monroe. But however, of course, they had to make some changes. And of course, General Manager Ava decided to confront Blake Monroe, asking what the hell was that. Now, Blake Monroe was trying to find a way to return the belt back to her. So basically, it was more like if I beat her up enough, she has no choice but to relinquish the belt. And of course, Ava was not having it. So basically, she just told her to leave out of the building. So that's how things end right there. Now, I did mention recently that there was talk about discussions about the potential of moving her up to the main roster. So we still don't know for sure if this is the beginning of that, for her to move, but we'll see. Now, we jump into our next match, which is, of course, a bit of a grudge match. Tatum Paxley versus Izzi Dame. Now, of course, these two ladies have been fighting each other recently since Izzi Dame betrayed Tatum Paxley. Now, what you guys may have noticed, Izzy does not have, of course, the rest of the culling, consistent of Nico Vance and Sean Spears, because A, they're afraid of Tatum Paxley. And of course, I'm sure Izzy was not having it. But Izzy, of course, did everything humanly possible to try to dismantle Tatum Paxley. But of course, Tatum Paxley prevailed when she applied the cemetery drive. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. So basically, you can say that possibly this is the end of their feud. Now, we did see a bit of a video promo from their newest talent, all the way from France, named Anglin Blanc. I might have mentioned him a few times in other promotions, and there was no surprise that he was amongst them. Now, there was original plan that he was going to be making his appearance without the mask, but now it seems like they wanted him back on it. So I'm glad that they did, because I felt it's kind of stupid for them to take off the mask. Now, we did see, of course, General Manager Ava try to talk to Thea Hale, tried to convince her, saying that she is in no way conditioned to continue on. But Thea Hale was being too stubborn about it, saying that people were saying that some people are still calling her that this whole thing was a fluke. But Thea Hale was not going to let that happen. But however, Jordan Gray said, "Look, Ava, she already made up her mind, so there's no convincing her." So Ava had no choice but to grant her open challenge that she's going to put out. So we'll see how that turns out. Now, our next match is the NXT Women's Championship. We have, of course, the Iron Survival Challenge winner, Kendall Gray, getting her opportunity against Izzi Dame. Now, of course, X factors of this match. You know that Jane will have the fatal influence, Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed, to back her up, to ensure that this match goes in her favor. But of course, Kendall Gray is not alone. She has Ren Sinclair by her side. Now, things were going normal. Now, there were some moments you would have assumed that Izzi Dame would have tapped out, but no. Of course, there was interference coming from both Henley and Reed, but unfortunately, Ren Sinclair missed out what she missed. What's her name? Kendall Gray had Izzi Dame right in where she needed her in the armbar until Lainey Reed blinded her, and just like that, we did see the rolling encore taking place, and just like that, Izzi Dame retained the championship. Now, General Manager Ava, of course, was dealing with the ego of Ethan Page. As you know, Ethan Page, well, let's just say he does not like the idea of being challenged for the North American title. But Ava was not, of course, not going to convince him or anything. Basically, she just like, Basically, he just doesn't want nothing to do until he called out his boys all the way from Evolve, the Vanity Project. Now, I don't know exactly what they talked about because that's how things ended with them. Now, our next match is the open challenge of the NXT Women's North American title. Thea Hale defends her belt. However, the real question, who will be the lucky person to do so? Well, we did see Tatum Paxley with a chainsaw once again, trying to scare people off. But unfortunately, she missed out on the person that, well, let's just say she lost earlier to Tatum, and that is Izzy. So she took the opportunity. However, of course, Izzi Dame was trying to use the injury that she obtained thanks to Blake Monroe. And of course, we did see a few moments where Thea Hale was trying to apply the Kimura lock, but unfortunately, it didn't do any well because apparently there was the Super Dame that ended right there for Thea Hale. We have a brand new NXT Women's North American Champion. So that tells it all. Now, of course, Lola Vice was watching this match and she cannot believe what happened. But luckily, she ran into people who are there to support her and give and cheer up, and that is, of course, Honk Honk, Hank and Tank. So, however, of course, she felt like, I'm the one who beat her, and she was right. She did defeat Izzy Dame. And of course, she tells her, that she's all about kicking ass. And, Lola Vice enjoys hearing that coming from them. However, of course, Lola Vice had much bigger fish to fry, and that is, of course, Kendall Kalani Jordan. And of course, Kalani Jordan out of nowhere showed up, and here comes another fight between those two. So it became a brawl right in the back. Now, we switch back to the general manager Ava in her office. Well, she showed up. Well, Joe Hendry showed up saying that he wants to have a piece of course, of Dark State. But he said he wants Dion Lennox after what happened. He said he wants him in a North American title. But however, Ava said that if he do this, he's leaving the door open for, of course, Dark State to make an initial attack. So basically, he said, "Look, let me handle some business. I'll find some guys who can deal with them." So that's exactly what he did. Now, Ethan Page once again going out to with his ego, explaining he is the greatest North American champion. But however, well, it seems people want a piece of him. The first one who made that appearance was the current WWE Men's Speed Champion, Jasper Troy. And then, of course, Josh Briggs. Then, of course, Stax along with Ariana Grace, Shalhill, and Tavion Heights. And then, of course, at nowhere point, we did see a bit of a brawl. So all hell broke loose in that matter. So I have to say, it ended right there for them. And of course, Ariana Grace got stuff in her body from what Shalhill had in his mouth. I don't know what happened, but it's kind of crazy. Now we jump into the backstage. Joe Hendry was talking to OTM. So of course OTM was not okay with the idea of him talking to them, but however, Joe Hendry convinced them, "Look, guys, I know you guys are tough. I know you guys are smart, but think of this. You guys help me out. You guys get one step closer to the one thing you guys want, which is the NXT Tag Team titles." So basically, OTM realized Joe Hendry's right. If they get involved in this, they most likely can get an opportunity. So that's exactly. So Joe Hendry knew OTM is hungry. They want to prove themselves that can get into the top spot. So he's opening the door for them. "Help me out. You guys get yourself an opportunity. Well, I'll deal with Dion. You deal with the others." So they agreed. Now, of course, during backstage, we did see the Fatal Influence, of course, laughing their butts off, knowing that they won. Daisy Jane believes that no one, of course, has the capability in defeating her. Uh, of course. But we did see Zarya and Sol Ruka making their way, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sol Ruka becomes the next person to challenge, or Zarya, whatever comes first. So we'll see how that plays out. Now, of course, Ethan Page was not too happy with the result of fact he that he was ganged up by a lot of people. Now, he did see Miles Bourne talking to Tate Wild. He asking him, "What the hell was all about? Why weren't you out there?" He's like, "None of my business." And of course, he was not lying. It was none of his business. But, of course, hearing from Ethan Page, he decided, you know what? I'm going to give him an ass whooping at some point. So, we may see that. Now, let's jump into the main event. Leon Slater, who in fact won the opportunity to have a shot against the ruler Obafemi. I have to say, almost similar to Javon Evans, but not that like the same, but almost similar. But of course, we know that Leon Slater has taken out bigger dudes in his career. We saw that when he became the X Division champion against Moose. And of course, what else we were seeing? Of course, and of course, Obafemi was not going to stay down, but unfortunately, he did apply the falls from grace, and just like that, it was over. But out of nowhere, he just left the belt laying in the ring. We don't know what that means. But meanwhile, Ava was talking to some of the talents from Evolve, telling her that there'll be some spots open and they were going to fight for it. However, Mr. Stone came out and told her the bad news about Obafemi, what he did, unaware what's going on. But there was a clear shot of the title, and then you see Tony D'Angelo right there. Now, we don't know what that means. Does this mean he wants the belt? I don't know. So we'll see how that rolls out from there. So that's pretty much it what happened in NXT. So let's move on to our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin as usual with some upcoming events. West Coast Pro will have their upcoming event on February 7th, Bay Area Brawl, and they just featured a match, Starboy Charlie versus Danny Orion. Now, GCW, as you know, will be making their way to Phoenix, Arizona on the 15th of February, a day after, of course, Valentine's Day, for Holy Smokes. And here's wrestlers that they have announced that will be participating. We have, of course, Acticus Cogar, Matt Tremont, Alex Hammerstone, One Call Manders, Ray Horace, Vengador, Keija Orso, formerly known as Fuego del Sol, and then, of course, what's his name? Effie, and that's pretty much it. Now, of course, we do have the Wrestle Queendom by all women's promotion in the UK, EVE, that will happen on March 8th. They just announced the Pink Striker, Miyu Yamashita, will be participating, so it's great news to hear from that. Now, let's move on to some developments. Now, here's a section of what I call the Fightful report. It's been told, of course, that Blake Monroe will be discussed. It's been discussed, of course, going into the main roster. So we don't know for sure if what happened on NXT is part of that. That she's probably being moved. Now we know she talked about how she feels more comfortable being in NXT that has been mostly viewed. I don't know if you guys would agree with that, but you guys leave a comment about that with me. Matt Taven, many of you know him, part of the Kingdom, says that he's no longer with AEW once his contract expires. So we know there's been talk about that recently. So kind of a bit of not, kind of bit not surprised. I mean, I'm sure there's some wrestlers we haven't seen for quite some time, and he's one of them. TNA has announced they just signed BDE. He's a guy you may have seen on YouTube, but yes, he's been making appearances in wrestling, so he is their latest acquisition. Recently, there was a bit of an cryptic from SANADA. If you guys saw what happened in New Year's Dash, something about goodbye or whatever, New Japan just revealed that he will be taking indefinite leave of absence with no schedule return. So it's still unclear. Some people speculate that he may be leaving New Japan and maybe trying to be part of Los Tranquilos de Japón. I'm not sure about that. So we're not sure if that's the case, but hopefully there'll be more answers coming from that. Finally, on the Stardom update here, apparently two of their talents, Matoi Hamabe, who many of you know, she was injured during the January 3rd event. Now recently, MMI Shima has just joined her, so they'll be out of action for quite some time to get treatment from their injuries. Now, as you all know, Alex Windsor made her presence known on January 3rd, making her debut. More dates have been announced. This would have been an upcoming event, but this is what they put out. They said that she will be on their show on January 10th, teaming up with, of course, Saida, Momokoko, and Olympia to face Godzai. And then, of course, the following day, she'll be teaming up with Sari to take on Shuri and Rana Yagami. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup right there. So that's pretty much it what we have for upcoming events. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, As you probably guessed, we will be doing, of course, AEW Dynamite. Now, I'm not sure about Evolve. As you all know, there haven't been any new shows since last month. But if there is one, I will definitely review it. If there's any other shows, I'm definitely going to try to review. We'll see about that too. So just cross your fingers. But the priority for the next episode, AEW Dynamite. But if Evolve does happen, then it will be part of it. So we'll see how things will go. But as of right now, I will say this, that I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.